We assume proactive people excel at building wealth, but in financial markets, the psychological need to take charge often leads to financial ruin. A 2018 discussion paper from the ICA Institute of Labor Economics, titled Locus of Control and Consistent Investment Choices, investigates this phenomenon. The researchers examined individuals with a high internal locus of control, people who believe they directly influence the events affecting them. The abstract outlines a surprising finding. These individuals often harm their portfolios by overreacting to random outcomes. Take a look at this chart. We start with a baseline of rational consistency, a flat line representing a 50-50 probability. But when an investor falls prey to the gambler's fallacy or the hot hand fallacy, their behavior deviates. They see exploitable patterns in random noise, adjusting their positions based on meaningless past events. When faced with mathematical randomness, our instinct is to act. We substitute logic for an emotional reaction, and in the process, we destroy our own wealth. These emotional reactions are symptoms of deep psychological programming known as money scripts. Formed often in childhood, these scripts govern the financial decisions we make as adults. Take money avoidance. A person with this script unconsciously views wealth as a corrupting force. Because they associate money with greed, they experience anxiety when they have it, leading to self-sabotage like compulsive spending or missed payments. On the opposite end is money status. Here, a person evaluates their self-worth by their net worth and visible material objects. They rely on the newest, biggest things to prop up their self-esteem. These scripts create a common trap. Instead of acquiring assets, a person continually upgrades their lifestyle, buying the nicer car or the bigger house, to satisfy a short-term emotional need. Because those lifestyle upgrades require constant funding, the individual gets locked into trading their time for a salary. Every raise or bonus is absorbed by a higher cost of living. Hard work is negated if it operates inside an emotional framework. You end up in a cycle of earning and spending that never generates freedom. Breaking that endless cycle requires viewing your money through the cold lens of logic rather than human emotion. Let's revisit the ISA investment paradox. On the left, we see the eroded returns of an erratic, high-frequency trader. On the right, the steady, compounding growth of an investor who maintained a consistent allocation. In a random system, doing nothing is often the mathematically optimal strategy. By decoupling their self-worth from their net worth, logical thinkers neutralize the money status script. They redirect capital away from lifestyle upgrades and funnel it directly into asset acquisition. They evaluate every purchase from the opportunity cost principle. Every dollar spent on a luxury today has a cost, the future value that dollar could have produced if it had been invested instead. When you override emotional impulses with math, money stops being a reward you spend and becomes a tool for multiplication. In practice, this translates to a strategic priority. Acquire cash-flowing assets before upgrading homes or vehicles. Whether it's a rental property, a portfolio of dividend stocks, or a scalable business, an asset operates on a system. It generates cash independent of the owner's daily mood or emotional state. This systematic approach runs counter to the assumption that a high salary equates to financial security. Linear earned income is vulnerable. If the employer disappears or if the individual cannot work, the income and the perceived security vanish. Wealth requires passing up the immediate dopamine hit of a new purchase. You prioritize systemic cash flow over short-term comfort. Once you solve the cash flow problem, the logical framework redefines the relationship between money and time. The standard model requires you to trade a finite, non-replenishable resource, your personal time, to acquire a replenishable resource like money. The wealthy inversion is to use money to purchase more time. This flowchart illustrates how that time is recovered. Every task on your plate must go through three branches. You either eliminate it, automate it with technology, or delegate it to someone else. When you spend money to buy back an hour of your day, you aren't incurring an expense. You are making a calculated investment to free yourself for higher value activities. Freeing up personal time allows for a focus on compounding activities, like building scalable systems that produce results without your direct involvement. Taking complete personal ownership of these systems shifts the focus from external luck to your own internal agency. If you built the system, you possess the power to refine it when outcomes fall short. Wealth is an engineering problem, achieved by overriding emotional instincts, relying on logical systems, and architecting personal freedom.